Our team coverage continues as our Call 6 Investigates team takes a closer look at public safety at the mall.
Now, since February the 26th, I've been able to learn that there have been 42 police runs to that mall. Shots, they rang out near Washington Square Mall earlier today, and police say a person suffered minor injuries. The shooting happened around 2:30 this afternoon.
I was towards the back of the shop, back of Target. I heard people running, people screaming.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're actually going to be looking at the Washington Square Mall in Indianapolis, Indiana. Now this is located on the far east side of Indianapolis, and being that I grew up in Indiana, I grew up in the northern part around Fort Wayne. That's pretty much where I've always lived. But as a kid, I did actually go to this mall quite a bit because, you know, for something different, we would go to Indianapolis sometimes. And we would always stop at this mall whenever we did because at that time, it was pretty much the main malls in Indianapolis were this one, Lafayette Square, and Castleton Square. So whenever we would go to this mall, it was actually nice. It's kind of sad to see it at this point. I kind of knew what to expect because I knew it was declining, but I had no idea it was declined this bad because back when I was a kid, it was nice. It wasn't a bad place. Now, I put in some of that stuff at the beginning just to kind of show you some of the security issues. This mall is kind of known for having a security problem. And the funny thing is, my mom actually just went to this mall about 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks before I recorded this. And she went into the Target, and the Target employee that she was talking about, because my mom was asking her, like, you know, what is this mall like now? Because I haven't been here for so long. And the lady in Target actually told her, don't go into the mall after dark alone because it's not safe, and there's really nothing in there anymore. And the lady in Target actually told her she hadn't even been to the mall for about 10 years, even though she works right there. Now the mall does not have access to the Target. You actually have to go outside and go into the Target entrance, which is kind of strange, but I thought it was kind of surprising that, you know, people that work right there don't even go into this mall anymore. Now, one thing about this mall that still stands out is the architecture. I really like the skylights in this place, and just the overall architecture of the place is still really nice. I'm glad they never changed that. And the textured ceiling, it's like these 3D textures that are actually something I've never seen in a mall before, other than this place. Now coming down this wing, this was actually my favorite wing of the mall because it was actually the most dead. I know that's bad to say, but it was the most interesting because there was really nothing down there that was open other than two places that you'll see here in a minute. And I will say that this end of the mall, or this wing, actually had a really bad smell. It smelled like mildew and a really old musty attic or a basement or something. I couldn't decide which one, but it smelled really bad. And I also couldn't really tell what that anchor was there. They're doing some construction around, or at least they have stuff out. I don't know if they just park it there or what, but it kind of looks like a Sears, so I'm kind of thinking that might be where the Sears was. Now, the stores that are down this corridor it was like a game trading store. That was pretty interesting. And then there's this dungeon. I really wanted to go in there, but it wasn't open. And it had like Halloween masks and horror things in there. It looked really interesting. And then right here is a video store, which you don't see very often. Unfortunately, there weren't I didn't see any VHS or anything in there. It was all just used DVDs. But still, it's kind of interesting to see something like that. And about that dungeon store and any of these other stores, there's a lot of stores that look like they should have been open, but they just weren't. And I notice that a lot when I go to these malls, where these independent owners, they just kind of set their own hours. So even though they have hours posted, you never really know when they're going to be open. So I don't know if that store is even open anymore, or if it's completely closed, or if they just didn't want to open that day or what. You just never know. Now going down this hallway here, I was really excited because the signs that are hanging up on the ceiling directing you to the main anchors and restaurants are still there from probably 15-20 years ago. and they still say like JCPenney, Sears. And this one got me really excited because it actually said turn right to go to MCL Cafeteria. Now, I haven't seen an MCL Cafeteria for probably 15 years anywhere. And I told myself, if that's really open, then I'm going to eat there because I hadn't seen one for so long, and I figured I probably never will again, but unfortunately, right there it is. It's obviously not open. But it was still really nice to see it. There were still a few things left inside, but not very much. It was just kind of funny to see these signs hanging up on the ceiling that still direct you to stores that don't exist anymore. I don't know why they don't just take them down. Now coming up here, it's kind of, I guess you could kind of call it their food court. It does have some tables, and then straight ahead are just a few little restaurants. I noticed there was like a little grill, I guess, with like regular American stuff, and then there was some Asian restaurant, and I think like a nacho place or a popcorn place or something. Not a lot, but at least they have a few options for food. Now you can see here, the mall looks decent. It's not dirty. It's actually pretty clean. And overall, it just didn't look too bad. It's just there's no customers in there. And I will say about security, you know, being that this mall has been known for security issues, the entire time I was there, I didn't see one security guard, which is very strange and unusual because even the really small malls that I go to, you'll see 4 or 5 security guards walking around just staring at everybody. But this one, I didn't see any. Now, when I first drove up to this place, there were about 7 or 8 police cars out in the parking lot just kind of driving around, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe they hire off-duty police officers for security, because some malls actually do that. But as soon as I drove in, though, they all turned on their lights and sped out of there, and they were actually chasing or looking for somebody, I guess. I don't know, but I was actually thinking maybe that's their security, but I didn't see any security in the entire time I was here. And that was kind of unusual. Now here's a look at the Burlington. This Burlington, and then there's a furniture store. Those are the only 2 sort of anchors that have mall access. There's a Dick's Sporting Goods and a Target, but they don't have mall access anymore. Here's a little tiny train that you can ride if if you really want to, I guess. Now on the right, there's actually like a bouncy house called Bouncy Town. It's just a bunch of bouncy things and like air hockey. You could actually pay $5 and have 2 hours of free reign inside that place, which that's pretty good if you want something to do for your kids for the afternoon. $5, you can't really beat that. And straight ahead there, of course, is Bath and Body Works. Every mall that's failing has to have a Bath and Body Works. And you can just see right ahead the architecture. The skylights in this place are really nice. And there's one of the signs that's hanging there. That one's accurate, but the other ones actually still say JCPenney, Sears, MCL Cafeteria. I think they need to just take those down, but one thing I did notice, there were so many places in this mall to get your hair done. Oh, and there's a restaurant. I think that was more like hot dogs and stuff, but it wasn't open, obviously. But yeah, there were so many hair places in this. There were like 3 or 4 barbers that I saw, and then 5 or 6 places for women to get your hair done. So if you need your hair done, go to Washington Square. And right there on the right is it looked like a former Radio Shack. I could be wrong, but it's where they sell TVs now, like used TV, a bunch of used TVs. I thought that was kind of interesting. And now here's the furniture store. I actually went in there. The prices actually weren't too bad. It kind of reminded me of a Big Lots outlet store, furniture outlet store, if you ever been in one of those. It wasn't too bad. And they actually have outside access, or outside entrances also, so you can park around the actual store. Here's some more shots of that ceiling. I really like that. I've never seen that before in a mall anywhere. And then there's the bouncy town again. I felt bad. There was a guy just kind of sitting there hoping for customers to come in, but nobody ever did. There's just so many little independent clothing stores, and I don't know. I give these people credit, you know, opening their own business in these kind of malls. I feel bad. They put all their time and money into these places and nobody seems to ever go in. Here's something that was kind of interesting. It's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons and Magic store. I don't know anything about those things, but they sold all those kind of games, and all those people sitting there, they were having like a big tournament. So that was actually interesting. I actually wanted to go in, but they had all the doors shut. I don't know anything about those games, but it looked like a pretty interesting store. Now, as I was heading out, here's another shot of the Target. There were two guys that were walking by, and I really wish I would have got this on video, but I didn't. They were actually having a conversation about how this place used to be so good back in the 80s, and I completely agree. It's just sad to see where it's become. And again, there's Target. I don't know why. I know at some point they had to have had access. I mean, that's just a gate that you pull down, but if you go into the Target, it looks like an actual wall in there, so I don't know when they actually closed it, but that's unfortunate. Now, just like I do in every video of malls that I've done, I always do a driving video around the parking lot, just to kind of look at it. And this, I believe, was Sears. I don't know. There were no markings or anything. And that door down there, keep that in mind, because we're going to come back to that here in a second. Now, here's that door I was talking about. That's just a typical glass door, but it was completely busted. And I actually thought, you know what? I'm going to go in there and see what's in there. I actually got out of the car and went up to the door, and you could actually get in there, but as I'm standing there, I heard people in there. Like, I heard people moving around. Glass was kind of crunching on the ground. So I don't know if it was an animal or if somebody else was in there, but I wasn't going to take a chance. I was alone. I didn't have any kind of protection, so I didn't go in. But yeah, that just kind of shows you how the security is in this place. They just leave a door that's wide open. So that's the Washington Square Mall in Indianapolis, Indiana. Overall, it's not a terrible mall, but it's definitely seen better days. I really wish that I could have gotten more video of this when I was younger, because it was such a nice place, probably about 25 years ago. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope everybody has a great day, a great week, and a great Labor Day weekend. Hopefully, if you're off tomorrow, have a great Labor Day. And just once again, thank you so much for watching these videos. I really appreciate it. Thanks again, and have a great week.